Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength? Sun Er was also startled when she heard Xiao Xian's stunned voice. She asked somewhat uncertainly, "What is this thing?" Dragon phoenixes had rarely appeared on the Dou continent's history. Hence, even though Sun Er was a member of the Gu clan, she was still extremely unfamiliar with this term. Xiao Xian also revealed a surprised expression in his eyes as he studied Xiao Yin in the blood pool. It was difficult for him to imagine that there was still such a thing hidden within Xiao Yan's body. It should be known that a legendary existence like the Dragon Phoenix was something that even he had never personally seen. A Dragon Phoenix is a mysterious creature that possesses the bloodline of the ancient Void Dragon and the ancient Heavenly Phoenix. This is the true supreme creature of the magical beast world. However, they have only appeared a few times. Even I have never personally seen such an existence. Xiao Xin slowly explained. A mysterious creature that possesses both the bloodline of the ancient Void Dragon and the ancient Heavenly Phoenix? Sun Er knit her brows. She was aware that Ziyan's actual body was an ancient Void Dragon, but she had never heard of when Xiao Yin had communicated with an ancient Heavenly Phoenix, an ancient magical beast that had disappeared a long time ago. I'm also not aware of just where this Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength came from, Xiao Xian spoke somewhat helplessly. From the looks of the situation, it seems that the removal of blood earlier did not remove this Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength. As more of the Xiao clan bloodline strength surged into Xiao Yan's body, the Dragon Phoenix bloodline could not endure the pressure and voluntarily erupted. Will this have an impact on Xiao Yin Ji? Sun Er frowned and asked. If we cannot remove the resistance of the Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength, the Xiao clan's bloodline strength will not merge in Xiao Yan's body. If it forcefully barges in, it will cause Xiao Yin to be seriously injured. Xiao Xin frowned. He felt a headache forming. This Dragon Phoenix bloodline was also extremely powerful. It was comparable to a genuine Dou bloodline. Although the strength of this kind of bloodline was not very powerful within Xiao Yan's body, it could not be underestimated. What should we do? Sun Er asked in a somewhat worried voice. Xiao Xian mused for a moment. His eyes shifted to Sun Er as he asked, "Little girl, are you willing to help me, or rather Xiao Yan?" "Elder Xiao Xian, please state whatever help you need." Sun Er rolled her eyes. She did not hesitate as she answered him. "I need some Gu clan bloodline strength." Xiao Xian stared intently at Sun Er. A wild heat surfaced in his eyes as he explained, "I know that the bloodline strength of two clans is difficult to merge. This is something that I had personally experienced back then, but it is precisely because of failure that I am aware of why it didn't work. The two types of powerful bloodline strengths have difficulty reconciling with each other. However, things are different. The strength of this Dragon Phoenix bloodline is not inferior to a Dou bloodline. By using it as a mediating item, it might be able to merge the Gu and Xiao bloodline strength. Moreover, it will even be able to resolve some of the problems that the Dragon Phoenix bloodline created. Merging bloodline strength. Even with Sun Er's calmness, her face involuntarily changed when she heard Xiao Xian's words. Something like the bloodline strength was viewed as the highest secret in each clan. They would definitely not allow outsiders to obtain it, and with the two of them being Dou bloodlines, they were basically in a state of opposition. It was impossible to merge them. If one were to try to forcefully merge them, the results would be quite serious. I am aware that this thought is quite crazy. Back then, I have already dabbled with such a thought because I think that the bloodline of a Dou might be able to allow the descendants of the Dou to possess an extraordinary talent, but this bloodline inheritance has definitely caused some things to be lost or go missing. It is precisely because of this lack of something that the experts within these ancient clans who can reach the Dou class end up diminishing. The process also becomes more difficult. Xiao Xian appeared to be aware of the thoughts within Sun Er's heart. He shook his head and explained his plan. I have experimented with it back then, but ended up failing. Since that time, I have never mentioned such a thing. However, now is perhaps an opportunity. Sun Er looked at Xiao Xin's elderly face before once again looking at Xiao Yin in the blood pool. Xiao Yin's eyes remained shut. She hesitated for a moment before finally sighing softly and saying, "Elder Xiao Xin, are you really confident?" 80%. Xiao Xin mused a moment before replying. Sun Er once again hesitated for a moment after hearing this. She clenched his silver teeth gently before she nodded. She said, "Since this is the case, I'll do as Elder Xiao Xin says. I shall represent Xiao Yin and the entire Xiao clan to thank you first." Xiao Xin cupped his hands to Sun Er with a solemn expression as he thanked her in a deep voice. Sun Er could only smile when she witnessed Xiao Xin's great politeness. If it wasn't for Xiao Yin, she would definitely not agree to Xiao Xin's crazy request. She understood in her heart that Xiao Yin possessed a great number of enemies from powerful factions. If he wished to be victorious over them all, he would need to possess a powerful strength. Should the so-called bloodline merger succeed, it would undoubtedly help Xiao Yin on his path. Sun Er inhaled a gentle breath of air. Her hand rapidly formed a couple of mysterious seals before her nail gently cut her jade-like wrist. A trace of blood appeared. Droplets of fresh blood slowly dripped down from her palm before falling into the blood pool. As these fresh blood drops fell into the blood pool, the fluctuations of pool slowly came to a halt. A 5-foot-large hollow area was swiftly formed. The blood that had fallen from Sun Er's hand gathered in that hollow area. At this moment, the blood did not scatter. Instead, it continued to gather before turning into a fist-sized blood ball that floated on the blood pool. Elder Xiao Xin, this is the most blood of the bloodline that I can take out. If I continue taking more out, it will affect my bloodline grade. Should the clan sense this matter, they will definitely connect it to Xiao Yin Ji. At that time, his situation will become even more dangerous. After another drop of blood rolled down her wrist, Sun Er rapidly rubbed her hand over it. The blood immediately halted. Only then did she lift her somewhat pale face as she softly informed Xiao Xin. "It is already enough, thank you." Xiao Xin once again cupped his hands to Sun Er. He was once the clan head of the Xiao clan. Naturally, he understood just what kind of great risk Sun Er took by being willing to give some Gu clan bloodline strength to Xiao Yin. This bloodline strength might seem like only a little, but Sun Er would need to train for 2 years to replenish it. This favor was indeed magnanimous. Sun Er slightly shook her head. Her pretty eyes looked at Xiao Yin in the blood pool. His eyes were still tightly shut. A gentle and pretty smile surfaced on the corner of her mouth, but she did not say anything. Ads by Pub Future. You should take a good rest first. Leave the remaining things to me. Relax, I will definitely hand you a Xiao Yin Ji, who is even more perfect. Xiao Xin fondled his snow-white beard and laughed. After which, his eyes landed on the blood pool. Both of his hands formed numerous seals with lightning-like speed. A low cry was emitted from his mouth at the same time, a glomerate. After Xiao Xin's low cry sounded, the blood pool rapidly began to rotate. A whistling sound started to hum, but not even a little drop of pool water spilled out. Xiao Yin stood at the middle of this swirl. His body was like an unmoving stone statue. With the increase in the intensity of the rotating blood pool, a purple-golden light spread over Xiao Yan's body. It appeared to have been suppressed as it gradually became much dimmer. While the purple-golden light became dim, a blood ball half a fist large suddenly shot out of the rapidly rotating blood. It broke through the purple-golden light with lightning-like speed and heavily struck Xiao Yan's chest. The moment it did so, the blood ball swiftly merged into Xiao Yan's body at a rapid speed. Xiao Yan's body suddenly began to tremble after the blood ball sank into it. Numerous tiny blood symbols began to shoot out of his skin. Within the blink of an eye, they dyed him red with blood. Sun Er's face immediately turned pale when she saw Xiao Yan's body. However, Xiao Xian merely inhaled a deep breath of air. His hand seal once again changed as the rapidly rotating pool of blood formed many fountains that continuously shot toward Xiao Yan's body. Every time a blood fountain made contact, it would strangely enter Xiao Yan's body. With an increasing amount of violent blood pouring into Xiao Yan, the two different bloodline strengths began to erode each other in Xiao Yan's body like an all-out battle. It seemed like they would not give up unless they destroyed the other party. Roar! While the two Dou Di bloodline strengths were eroding each other, the Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength that was hidden in a certain part of Xiao Yan's body surged out after being urged by Xiao Xian. A soul-stirring dragon roar and phoenix cry vaguely sounded. The Dragon Phoenix bloodline strength charged into the two eroding Dou Di bloodlines as the third party. The three types of bloodline strengths merged together. This, along with Xiao Xian's perfect control, caused the two types of strength to weaken. The three types of bloodline strengths formed a tri-colored blood cluster under Xiao Xian's control. This mysterious cluster continued to rotate, and the three types of bloodlines began to show signs of merging. The progress was excruciatingly slow. It lasted for an entire month. After the month was up, the rotation suddenly came to a halt. A mysterious purple red slowly flowed out of the sphere. This kind of bloodline was a completely new bloodline strength. It was a type of bloodline that fused two Dou Di bloodlines and the Dragon Phoenix bloodline. A purple-red blood slowly flowed out of the sphere and gathered together. A moment later, a thumb-sized purple-red crystal quietly appeared, after which it quickly moved before transforming into a purple-red light that ruthlessly shot into Xiao Yan's heart. Xiao Yan's body violently trembled when that purple-red crystal shot into his heart. Fortunately, that crystal ended up merging with his heart in a mysterious way. Once it merged with his heart, threads of purple-red light were emitted, causing his heart to beat with greater strength. Bang! The blood pool in the outside world suddenly exploded the moment the purple-red crystal shot into Xiao Yan's heart. A blood fog scattered in all directions, spreading over a large portion of the hall. Sun Er was seated beside the blood pool. The blood fog that drifted over automatically disappeared when it was 5 feet away from her, but her eyes did not move because of this. They continued to stare at Xiao Yan in the pool, whose eyes were still tightly shut. Her hands were tightly clenched because of her anxiousness. Who? Xiao Xian by the side heaved a long sigh. A wild joy surfaced within his eyes as both of his hands rubbed against each other. He muttered in excitement, "Success! It has really succeeded. Elder Xiao Xian." Sun Er's tensed heart finally relaxed when she saw Xiao Xian's excitement. She hurriedly called out. Xiao Xian swiftly recovered his calm after hearing Sun Er's cry. He smiled at her and spoke as though he had been relieved of a huge burden. Success! 3 types of bloodlines have successfully been merged. Sun Er's face, which had been strained for a month, finally revealed an enchanting smile when she heard Xiao Xian confirm what he said. The huge rock that had pushed on her heart completely vanished. Too many unexpected changes had occurred during this 1 month. Even with her resolve, she still felt her soul stir with every change. Any slight mistake during these changes would have been unacceptable. Xiao Xian wiped the cold sweat off of his forehead. Sun Er had been worried, but he hadn't been calm either. Xiao Yan was the only hope of revitalizing the Xiao clan. Xiao Xian valued this seedling even more than anyone else. If any mishap befall Xiao Yan, he would become the true sinner of the Xiao clan. The bloodline has been successfully merged, however. There is only a small amount of Gu clan bloodline and Dragon Phoenix bloodline. This new bloodline strength will not be able to spread all over Xiao Yan's body at the moment. Hence, the only possible place to stick this bloodline is deep within his heart where he can gradually cultivate it. Once there is a sufficient amount of this newly formed bloodline strength, when it flows all through Xiao Yan's bloodline, it will finally have fully matured at that time. Whether Xiao Yan can break through the Doshang class and advance to the D class, which no one has reached in 1,000 years, will depend on Xiao Yan's fate. Xiao Xin looked at Xiao Yan in the blood pool and slowly spoke. Sun Er nodded. Although the quantity of this newly formed bloodline was small, it could be considered a seed. Now that this seed had been planted, what they needed to do was to wait for this seed to grow into a truly towering tree. At that time, the Douqi continent would tremble because of him. Next, let's wait for him to completely inherit the energy that I have left behind. This will take quite a while. You should quietly train here during this period of time. The energy here is the densest in the heavenly tomb and will allow you to gain much. Xiao Xin glanced at the blood pool where wave after wave of dense, solid-like energy was present deep within the blood pool. It continuously flowed into Xiao Yan's body. Xiao Xin clearly understood that the current Xiao Yan was beginning to absorb the energy that he had left behind. Sun Er gently nodded. Her pretty eyes stared at Xiao Yan in the blood pool for a moment. Only after seeing that nothing was amiss did she relax. She slowly shut her eyes and entered her training state. Xiao Xin smiled after seeing Sun Er enter her training state. He looked at Xiao Yan in the blood pool and softly muttered, "This little fellow does possess a great charm." Being the former clan head of the Xiao clan, Xiao Xin naturally understood that a member of the ancient clan who possessed a divine bloodline would gradually approach a perfect state of mind as they became older. Under such perfection, they would seldom possess any special feelings for the opposite sex. Hence, his heart was full of disbelief that Sun Er would do so much for Xiao Yan. However, he was unaware that the beginning of the feelings between the two had started to brew when they were very young. After completely resolving the problem of the bloodline in Xiao Yan's body, Xiao Xin couldn't do anything else since everything else that needed to be done was Xiao Yan's responsibility. If he were to continue helping, he would really hinder Xiao Yan in an effort to help. That would not benefit Xiao Yan. It was just as Xiao Xin had mentioned. Xiao Yan took quite a long time to absorb the energy that he had left behind. During this time, Sun Er, who had become a little weak after losing quite a lot of essence blood, swiftly entered her training state. Hence, the entire large hall had become dead quiet. Fortunately, Xiao Xin was used to such an atmosphere after all these years. He did not feel lonely. Time swiftly flowed by like the sand between one's fingers amid this quiet atmosphere. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 1 year had already trickled by in this ancient hall. Sun Er had spent most of this 1 year training. The energy here was the richest in the heavenly tomb. Hence, she had gained a lot during this 1 year. Not only did she recover over half of the bloodline strength that she had exhausted, even her aura had become a little stronger. Of course, at this level, the increase in her strength had already become very slow. At the very least, this slow speed was still significantly faster within this tomb. When Sun Er occasionally woke from her training, she would study Xiao Yan, who was statue-like in the blood pool. Xiao Yan did not show the slightest sign of opening his eyes during this 1 year. The extremely rich energy also appeared to be endless as it continuously poured into his body. Although the pouring in of the energy was extremely frightening, Sun Er did not feel stunned because she knew that only when the final cluster of energy poured into Xiao Yan's body would it truly erupt. During this 1 year, Xiao Xin guarded the blood pool without leaving. He watched the blood pool gradually become clearer as Xiao Yan absorbed it. The smile on his face also became richer. After all, this was the only fortune that he could give Xiao Yan. Time quickly flowed by while Sun Er formed a cycle between being awake and training. Fortunately, it was possible to tell from the clearing pool that the majestic energy contained within it had diminished as Xiao Yan absorbed a little at a time. The blood pool became even clearer. Around a year and a half after Xiao Yin had entered the blood pool, the final thread of blood color completely disappeared. At this moment, the pond once again recovered its clear and serene appearance from when Xiao Yin had first arrived. The moment the final trace of energy poured into Xiao Yan's body, Xiao Xin and Sun Er appeared to have sensed something. They opened their eyes at almost the same time, and they stared at Xiao Yin, who still had his eyes shut. Xiao Yin did not show any changes as the two of them looked at him. Even his breathing was as calm as ever. However, Xiao Xin and Sun Er were naturally able to sense the frightening energy within Xiao Yan's body. It was like a volcano that was about to erupt. Bang! This silence continued for around half an hour. That pond, which was so calm that it was void of even the slightest ripple, suddenly exploded like thunder. An enormous water pillar shot out and scattered into the air. A torrential storm came pouring down. Xiao Xin and Sun Er ignored the storm that came pouring down. Their eyes did not blink as they locked onto Xiao Yin. His aura has begun to soar. Xiao Xin's face twitched as he opened his mouth to inform Sun Er. Bang! Xiao Xin's words had just sounded when a vast and mighty aura suddenly surged out of Xiao Yan's body. This aura began to rapidly soar at a frightening speed. Peak of the 6th star, 7th star, peak of the 7th star, 8th star. Xiao Xin and Sun Er sensed Xiao Yan's soaring aura, which seemed unstoppable. Their expressions had become more and more grave. It's already at the 9th star. Within less than 10 minutes, Xiao Yan's aura had risen from the 6th star to the 9th star. Moreover, this kind of increase still showed signs of continuing. It is fast approaching the peak of the 9th star. Another 2 minutes passed. Sun Er's face once again revealed some worry. If Xiao Yan's aura were to stop here, his chances of advancing to the Doshun class would become slim. Xiao Xin appeared quite calm, but his knit brows betrayed the anxiety in his heart. Xiao Yan's aura finally soared to the peak of the 9th star in front of Xiao Xin and Sun Er's anxious eyes. Xiao Yan Ji, if this continues, you will completely halt at this level. Sun Er revealed an anxious expression as she tightly clenched her hand. Xiao Xin's face was solemn. If Xiao Yin were unable to resist the temptation of this great increase in strength, his achievements would halt at this point. Losing oneself because of some easily obtained strength would mean that one would not go very far in the future. Xiao Yin, you are the last hope of the Xiao clan. Do not disappoint me. Xiao Xin and Sun Er's eyes were focused on Xiao Yin as they stood outside of the blood pool. Their faces were filled with a seriousness and a nervousness. Xiao Yin, you must not lose your rational thoughts. Xiao Xin tightly clenched his hands. His mouth continued to softly mutter words. Bang! While Xiao Xin continued to mutter, a strange muffled sound was suddenly emitted from Xiao Yan's body. The two watched Xiao Yan's face become an extreme purple-red color, and his soaring aura began to rapidly revert. Who? Xiao Xin and Sun Er heaved a sigh of relief when they sensed Xiao Yan's aura rapidly weaken. Fortunately, Xiao Yan had maintained his calm in the face of great temptation. Xiao Yan's aura quickly diminished. Within a couple of minutes, it had weakened from the peak of the 9th star to around the 6th star. However, this was not something that the previous 6-star Xiao Yin could compare with. Both were similar levels, but there was a significant difference. This fellow has suppressed it very ruthlessly, however. This will incur a rebound. Xiao Xin smacked his lips. He did not expect Xiao Yin to suppress his aura from the peak of the 9th star back to the 6th star. This thought had just flashed within Xiao Xin's heart when Xiao Yan's aura, which had been suppressed to the 6th star, began to rebound. However, the speed of this rebound was being controlled by Xiao Yin, so it was a lot slower. Peak of the 6th star, 7th star, peak of the 7th star, 8th star, 9th star. Xiao Yan's aura slowly rose, stopping once it had rebounded to the 9th star. However, it did not rise to the peak of the ninth star again. However, Xiao Yan's expression changed when his aura reached the ninth star. It was forcefully suppressed by him again. This time, the aura could no longer be suppressed any further after reaching the peak of the seventh star. The energy is too dense. There will still be a rebound, but this should be the final one. Xiao Xian nodded as he sensed Xiao Yan's rising and falling aura. From the looks of the current situation, all the changes were under Xiao Yan's control, which made Xiao Xian a lot less worried. Xiao Yan's performance really satisfied him. Sun Er by the side also smiled and nodded. The energy that Xiao Yan had absorbed was far too dense, but this density caused the Dou Qi within his body to be too thin. It needed to be compressed in order to allow the Dou Qi to recover its usual denseness. Blup blup. Bubbles continued to be emitted from the clear pool. Xiao Yan's aura finally showed some signs of rising again after pausing for a moment. Within less than 5 minutes, it easily broke through the seventh star and reached the eighth star. Finally, it came to a complete stop at the peak of the eighth star. Peak of the eighth star. Xiao Xian and Sun Er sighed in relief after sensing Xiao Yan's stabilized aura. His strength had risen by 2 stars. Fortunately, this level should be within Xiao Yan's control. Xiao Yan had found the most suitable equilibrium in terms of the great increase in strength. After Xiao Yan's aura completely stabilized, his eyes, which had been shut for 1.5 years, finally began to twitch. A moment later, they were finally opened in front of Xiao Xian and Sun Er. Qi. 2 purple-red lights shot out of both of Xiao Yan's eyes like pillars when they were opened. It caused a towering stone pillar within the large hall to turn into dust with a bang. The light that shot out was slowly diminished a moment later. However, Xiao Yan's originally dark black eyes had gained an additional purple-red color, causing them to appear quite unusual. Who? A mouthful of hot, eroding air followed Xiao Yan's throat as it was slowly spat out. Upon sensing the ocean-like Dou Qi, a joyous feeling suddenly formed. Immediately, a clear voice that vaguely possessed a dragon roar and phoenix cry bellowed from his mouth. Roar! The roar was like thunder as it rolled through the hall. It shook the room until it trembled. Ha ha! How refreshing! The roar reverberated across this hall for a moment before gradually disappearing. Xiao Yan loudly laughed. His hand slammed the surface of the water, and his body rushed out in a flash. He gently landed beside the blood pool. A frighteningly powerful aura that could not be increased any further swept in all directions like a storm. Congratulations, Xiao Yan Ji. Sun Er sweetly smiled and congratulated him when she saw him smoothly exit his retreat. Xiao Yan grinned and stretched his lazy waist. His hand randomly grabbed in front of him, and the space itself appeared dented. After sensing the feeling of being filled with a majestic energy, Xiao Yan was confident that if he fought Gu Yao again, he would be able to defeat Gu Yao within 20 exchanges with no Dou skills. A peak 8-star Dou Zun. In terms of level, the current him had truly caught up to Gu Yao, Gu Hua, and the rest who were considered the young geniuses of the Gu clan. Thank you, ancestor. Xiao Yan turned to Xiao Xian by the side, who had become old-looking. With a wave of his sleeve, he unhesitatingly knelt in the direction of his ancestor and thanked him in a deep voice. Forget about Xiao Xian's seniority. Xiao Xian had turned himself into this state in order to preserve the final bloodline of the Xiao clan and had waited a countless number of years. He was worthy of receiving a kowtow from Xiao Yan. Xiao Xian smiled in a pleased manner. His eyes were filled with a gentleness as he helped Xiao Yan to his feet. He said, "The Xiao clan has a chance to be revitalized now. My waiting here for so many years was really worthwhile, however. The one you should thank this time around is likely your little girlfriend. If not for her help, you would not have been able to merge the 3 types of bloodlines." Xiao Yan was slightly startled. He turned his head and looked at the smiling Sun Er, but she slowly shook her head at him. Xiao Yin naturally understood her meaning. She did not wish for there to be a clear divide between the two of them. A warmth immediately surged into his heart. What else could a man wish for after gaining such a woman? Xiao Yin, currently, a new bloodline seed has been planted deep within your heart. You need to protect it properly. Do not let any mishaps befall it. It will play a critical role in determining if you will reach the Dou D class. Xiao Xin's expression was solemn as he continued. If you reach the Dou D class, the wasted bloodline in the bodies of those members of the Xiao clan will once again be revived, and the bloodline will be even stronger than in the past. This is the only hope to revitalize the Xiao clan. Xiao Yin quietly nodded. His hand gently rubbed his chest. It was just possible for him to vaguely feel his strong and powerful heartbeat. Each time it beat, it seemed to cause the Dou Qi within his body to ripple a little. Additionally, you should be careful of the Hun clan. I have come into contact with them many times, and this clan is quite mysterious and strange. Even when the Xiao clan was at its peak, we could only fight equally with them. The Xiao clan had a peak period among the 8 ancient clans. At that time, the Xiao clan was the strongest while the Gu clan was the second. However, the Hun clan was the most unusual. Based on my guess, the strength of the Hun clan is likely a little stronger than even the Gu clan. Xiao Xin's expression was solemn. Back then, the Xiao clan had engaged in a big battle with the Hun clan and had roped in many helpers. However, they were ultimately unable to gain much. This was enough to prove how powerful the Hun clan was. Moreover, the Hun clan had a long history, but it appeared that its bloodline hadn't been exhausted. This was something that Xiao Xin had never understood, but he was ultimately unable to obtain a true answer. The expressions of Xiao Yin and Sun Er changed when they heard Xiao Xin's words. Sun Er was clearly aware of the strength of the Gu clan. The Gu clan had fought with the Hun clan during these years and had won most of the time. Hence, she found it difficult to accept it when she heard Xiao Xin mention that the Hun clan could be stronger than the Gu clan. The Gu clan is indeed the most stable clan among the 8 clans. However, the Hun clan is far too mysterious. There is hardly anyone in this world who truly understands them, Xiao Xin sighed. He waved his hand when he saw Xiao Yin and Sun Er frowning. He said, in any case, before you reach the Doshang class, you should try to be careful. You possess the 2 Shi ancient gods jade in your hand. The members of the Hun clan will definitely come and look for you. Xiao Yin nodded. He clearly understood in his heart that regardless of whether it was because of a grudge between the 2 clans or some other personal issues, those fellows from the Hun clan would definitely not let him off easily, but it was impossible to shrink back for any reason. He would definitely not submit before he truly reached that final step, even if his opponent was the most mysterious Hun clan among the 8 ancient clans. It has already been 2 years since you have entered the heavenly tomb. There is still around a year left before you will be sent out. You should train more during this 1 year and get used to your strength that has soared. Xiao Xin patted Xiao Yan's shoulder. He immediately clenched his hand, and a scroll with various flame drawings appeared in his hand. This is the complete version of the Skyfire 3 Mysterious Change. It also possesses the final step. If you successfully learn it, you will succeed in creating the clan tattoo. If the bloodline strength is used in union with it, it will unleash the strength of the clan tattoo to its limit. Xiao Yan's eyes immediately landed on the scroll when he heard Xiao Xin's words. A heat surged within his eyes. The completed version of the Skyfire 3 Mysterious Change had finally landed in his hands.